They always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly, he's Justin Godsey. This is The Real Sports Talk. Thank you for tuning in. No, this is not UFC footage highlights, so if you're looking for that, don't leave an angry comment in the section below, because you're getting blocked if you do that. Lightweight Championship tonight was the main event on UFC on Fox 5, but prior to that, Justin, we had some bouts on Facebook and then on FX. Give me your thoughts on those.
Alright, I want to start off with the prelims card. We're going to start from the prelims on Facebook, which featured Scott Young Guns Jorgensen taking on John Prince Albert. Now, I took some notes on my website, thenationsportsblog.com. You can also go and check that out. Now, Scott Jorgensen really took this bout to the ground. He was a really excellent fighter throughout the whole match. But prior to the bout versus John Albert, Scott Jorgensen was on a 2-fight losing streak. And personally, I am a huge fan of Scott Jorgensen. But he really needed to win to, put his name on the, try to get out of the sewer to get himself back up to the surface to be in the contention of getting a title shot. But with John Albert as a start, yes, that's gonna raise some eyebrows, but not a whole lot. He still has a lot to prove until he's actually in the mix of getting a title shot between Ren and Barrow. So you know what, Scott Jorgensen is a really solid athlete, but he did pick up the victory over Prince Albert, John Prince Albert, so that's a good start. Next up on the featherweight, we had a featherweight bout between Dennis Siver and Namphan, who I recently interviewed. Now, Dennis Siver was all over Namphan, who was a replacement. I don't know exactly who Dennis Siver was going to be facing for the event, but Namphan came in. He was just overpowered. Dennis Siver just really took over Namphan. Nothing really was going Namphan's way throughout the entire bout. Dennis Siver took over and picked up the victory via unanimous decision. Next up, the lightweight bout between Abel Trulio and Marcus Levasseur. I'm not really good at pronouncing the names a whole lot, but please correct me. Marcus Levasseur, you know what? I had him going in picking up the victory, but you know what? I had a really shitty night projecting these bouts. Abel Trulio made his UFC debut tonight as Levasseur falls to 22-6 in his mixed martial arts career. And you know what? The sky's the limit for this Abel Trulio guy in the lightweight division. He's a must-keep for the UFC by the way he performed tonight versus Marcus Levasseur. Now, going over to the catchweight bout between Garen Krushenek and Henry Martinez, this is the bout of the night. If this is not the bout of the night, I'm going to be really pissed off. Even though Benson Henderson and Nate Diaz went the distance, I'm giving this my personal bout of the night to Darren Krushenek and Henry Martinez. I'm not going to give you guys a full rundown. You got to go and if you recorded it, you have to go out and rewatch this bout between Darren Krushenek and Henry Martinez as Darren Krushenek defeats Henry Martinez via a second-round knockout with a head kick. Now going to the lightweight bout with the fifth bout in the prelims between Ramses Nijem and Joe Proctor. Ramsey Nijem defeated Joe Proctor via unanimous decision. Then we're going to the bantamweight between Rafael Asquiao. Like I said, I'm not really good at pronouncing the names. He defeated Mike Easton. And then to wrap it up, we got the lightweight bout between Yves Edward and Jeremy Stevens, as Yves Edward, the veteran of the Octagon, defeated Jeremy Stevens via a first-round knockout. Now, today we're going into the main card. Tell us the main card. What match really stood out to you?
I think it was a match between BJ Penn and Rory McDonald. After this match, a lot of people calling for BJ Penn to hang it up and retire, and he looked old and slow tonight. Rory McDonald has incredible footwork, and he absolutely dominated BJ Penn. I mean, you give BJ Penn credit. He did not get knocked out. He didn't get put into submission. He went the distance, but Rory McDonald absolutely kicked his ass in the fight tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. BJ Penn, he's coming back after a couple of months absence from UFC. Rory McDonald, like you said, has great footwork. And you know what? Rory McDonald has been putting himself on the belt to get a welterweight title shot. He's just right there, just a couple of more fights, and then you know what? Dana White will be like, okay, let's really start putting the pieces together to get a possible GSP versus Rory McDonald. But you know what? Rory McDonald has to wait in line for a title shot because there's so much rumors going around with GSP versus Nick Diaz, which is more than likely going to happen because Nick Diaz, once he comes back, there's just so much anger between GSP and Nick Diaz. You also got Johnny Big Rig Hendricks, who won the #1 contender spot, and then you got the rumors with Anderson Silva. I mean, George St. Pierre is just going to be a very busy man come the next few bouts. Next up, Tim, we're going to go straight into the main card. I'm going to talk about, the light heavyweight championship match between Benson Henderson and Nate Diaz. But, you know what? I really enjoyed this match. This was a really interesting match. And Benson Henderson, I chose Nate Diaz because Nate Diaz was a heavily favorited guy coming in this bout because, Nate Diaz is a guy who really likes to push people's buttons. He's the type of fighter that, he likes to talk a lot of shit, and you know what? He can back it up. Over the past couple of months and in the past year, he's really stepped his game up to really get this lightweight championship match. Now, Tim, I want to hear your reactions about the fight.
Well, I basically did a round for round on this fight as I was preparing for the Real Sports Talk podcast tonight. I went through this, and pretty much every round, I had Benson Henderson winning. The first round, it was a good round, but Benson Henderson, you could tell with a lot of the low kicks that he had the advantage. In the second round, it became more and more apparent that with those low kicks, he had a pin in the second round with just under 2 minutes, that Benson won that round. In the third round, you could just see that Diaz could not get into the point where he could land any punches on Benson. Benson took him down with 4 minutes left. He broke out of the Diaz hold. Every time it looked like Diaz was about to punch Benson or get him in a hold, Benson went and turned it on him and did the exact opposite thing back to Diaz. He did a tremendous job tonight. In the third round, Benson had a big right hand after Diaz looked like he was going to go in for a big punch. Diaz got him back with a punch. Instead, I had Benson taking round 3. In round 4, a damaging punch, or a few damaging punches, I should say, to Diaz's stomach. It really became apparent at that point that he needed a knockout in round 5 for Diaz to have any chance to win. He didn't get that. A leg kick pretty much finished him off. And even at the end, he couldn't even get to the point where he could get a big punch off against Diaz. I think that Benson, it was fun to watch. There were times where Diaz looked like he had a chance to get back into the fight. But overall, Benson Henderson dominated this fight tonight.
Multiple times Nate Diaz had the opportunity to come back and start winning a couple rounds. But you know what? I said that this was... Well, I was looking over as I was like, you know what, maybe Nate Diaz can come back in the next couple of rounds. It was a 5-round sweep of Nate Diaz. Those low kicks from Benson Henderson really knocked Nate Diaz off his game tonight. So Benson Henderson, he retains the title, but I don't know who else is in line to get a title shot. Maybe we can see a WEC rematch between him and Anthony Pettis as he takes on Cowboy Cerrone in the coming months. So we'll just have to wait and see. So there you go, guys. That's the UFC on Fox 5 recap. Next up, we're going to have UFC on FX, and this is going to be in Australia, where it will be actually a really interesting match. You're going to see Chad Money Mendez, Hector Lombard, Norman Park. I mean, this is going to be another interesting bout, as next week they're going to be in Gold Coast, Australia, for UFC on FX.
Just a little ways around the corner from fear. Be there, next year, where I'm going.